Biggest marketing campaign fail you've ever seen? How has having a partner that's so driven influenced your journey in the entrepreneurial space, but again, also in life? How has that impacted you?
Yeah, the market's saturated. There's so many agencies out there, but what God has placed in you will separate you.
Welcome back to the channel. It's Jared Naidu at Capital GBT podcast. Today, we're joined with Bianca Naidoo, who we go way back. We've met and
Yeah.
been friends for a while. Bianca runs a successful marketing agency. She's taken over the whole of Durban space. She's now taken over Cape Town, and and yeah, B, thanks so much for coming on the podcast. Yeah, uh,
Thank you so much for having me.
no, a pleasure. Do you remember how we met?
Please refresh my memory, but I know we go way back, dude, like way, way back. And I think it has something to do with God. I don't know, because that's usually how my
Oh.
long-lasting relationships start.
I mean, I think that's where it got further and we stayed friends. Yeah, so background guys, Bianca and I are still very close friends for over the time. We've
Mm.
been in Durban and then obviously I moved to Cape Town and B also was in Cape Town for a bit, went back to Durban and is back in Cape Town. Um,
A
yeah.
little hot switch.
So so basically we've met at Buff Beauty when Treven was still
Oh my gosh, was
marketing
that
for
the
Buff
first
Beauty.
time?
Everyone's been
Yes.
marketing for Buff Beauty, and I think you were one of the clients that came
The
in doing the
models,
influencer gig,
yes.
and then I came on as a photographer to do a gig, and then I think we just stayed in contact since then. I
Yes,
think we've
yes,
done
yes. Oh my gosh, that feels like ages ago.
yes,
Gosh,
yeah, but Treven's doing good things now, man. I've seen him in a couple of
I'm
G.
so proud of him. I'm so proud of all of us, actually. Like,
Yeah,
we've seen each other grow and the trajectory of the growth, and we've just supported each other along the journey. So I just love that. I love seeing, especially people from Durban doing the things.
yeah,
Makes me
100%.
proud.
100%. And I look back at Durban, I look back at like people that were in the Durban influencer space, and everyone's doing their own thing, like you said, like whether they're still in the influencer space or they started their own business. Um,
Mm,
so everyone's killing it. So coming back
love it.
coming back to you, you've studied in Cape Town, right? But you didn't study marketing, you studied dentistry, right?
Hence the veneers.
Yeah. But studying in Cape Town, like, what was the
Yeah,
experience like in Cape Town? Because I'm sure it's a culture shift from Durban to Cape Town. And then,
absolutely.
do you think that shaped your perspective in regards to marketing yeah.
hmm Okay, first things first, Cape Town literally has my heart, but I'm always a Durban girly through and through. So coming here, it was 100% a culture shock because coming here on holiday and living here is completely two different experiences. I mean, you would know, right?
Yeah,
From
100%.
the cost of living to people think it's slow paced, but I think it depends where you're at and who you're with. I feel in my industry and our industry is very fast paced. When I came here as a young 18-year-old girl, I didn't know what to actually expect.
Yeah.
And initially, I have to say Cape Town was extremely cliquey. As everybody does say, it's hard to break into cliques and spaces and markets, but I'm a people's person, right? So I will literally go and make friends with anybody. I will extend an arm to somebody that needs help. And I just had to push myself out of my comfort zone a little
Yeah.
bit more, coming from a small town like Durban and then being thrown into the city life,
Yeah.
I had to adapt. So it was kind of like Charles Darwin theory of evolution. Like you got to either adapt or die. And I think that's exactly what I had to do is adapt to the market, adapt to the people, their way of living, their way of speaking. And it really changed my mind completely because Durban is so small-minded, so small thinking. And then you get this place, which is a global melting pot of cultures. Um, you know, in terms of Durban being a small-minded, small-thinking city, I don't say that in a bad way. I think that the value systems in Durban is great. If I hadn't grown up in Durban, I don't think I would be who I am today. So there's pros and cons to it, in every place that you live in. Um, From a marketing perspective, 100%. Even though I studied dentistry, I always found myself like, you know, going to events as an influencer because as you know my profile was being sort of like molded and grown from back in the
Yeah.
day, so I would be invited to the launch of this brand or this event. And to be honest, it's when the OGs of the blogger space actually came out. So your Nadia Jafters, your Bake the Blog, your Fashion
Yeah.
Breed, they were in their infancy in 2013, and we used to all be at the same event. So
Mm.
also seeing how they sort of created sort of like a stream of income and a career out of their blogging is brilliant. But yeah, having access to that level of interaction, those kind of events at 18 when blogging and influencing wasn't even a thing,
Mm.
that expanded my mind, you know.
Yeah.
It didn't happen it didn't happen at UWC where I studied. It happened when I actually stepped out of campus and I started engaging with everybody. Then I was like, oh my word, this is a slice of Europe. This is a slice of America. It feels so diverse, and it really just took my mindset to another level.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
you do so well, I think, from what I've seen when it comes to like reaching out to people, because like you said, Cape Town can be clicky, and
Mm,
if you're the person that reaches out, I'm sure people are open and that type of stuff. And I think that makes a big difference adapting to the Cape Town culture. So you've done really well.
yeah.
I think I'm still learning that.
I think I think the trick is, and everybody is talking about it now, it's such a buzzword, but your EQ.
Mm,
Your EQ needs to be just as strong as your IQ, and you've got to be able to read a room. And I think when I studied brand strategy, one of the majors that I did was consumer psychology.
mm,
So tapping into the psyche of consumers, into people, understanding who they are, what makes them tick, meeting them at their level, being an empath, all of these things are traits that nobody teaches you, but is so important when running a business and dealing with people.
mm. Yeah. You said you studied somewhat into the
Dentistry.
industry, but then also then somewhat
Yeah.
in marketing, right?
Yeah.
And you've worked for marketing agency, right? So you've worked in a marketing
Mhm.
agency in Cape Town, but you've left that and you started your own company. I'm sure there's people out there that are working into a 9 to 5, but they really want to start their own thing. What made you take, like, listen, this is my opportunity. I'm going to take the leap and I'm going to start my own
Yeah.
marketing agency. What was that aha moment for you?
So, being an agency, as most might know, is somewhat dreadful.
Yeah.
As much as you gain a lot of experience and you get to work with brands that I never thought I could have worked with, the agency that I was working for at the time used to manage global entities. So I got experience and privilege of meeting quite amazing people. At the time, I was managing about 10 brand portfolios, if not more.
By yourself?
And I would sit by myself, one person. They push you. They really do push you to uh, as much as you can push. And I was sitting there and I was thinking, I'm basically running this company. Well, not well, more so in terms of the spaces that I was in. So there was different pockets, of the company. There was
Yeah.
PR specialists and there was brand strategists and there was social media managers. So I had my finger in a few things. What that did for me is it kind of sharpened different areas to which I was trying to figure out what's my strength. And I'd really advise people wanting to find out like what makes them tick or what they're strong at, but you've got to put your hand in different pots.
Yeah.
You've got to try and understand where your forte lies. You're not just going to wake up one day and be like, I'm a brand strategist, you know?
Mm,
So when I started working on these brand portfolios, it gave me insight and industry experience. It also shaped who I was and like sharpened my giftings in a sense. Then I realized, okay, in this sort of pocket of brand strategy and client liaison and managing the actual portfolio, this is a strength of mine.
mm,
Um, I used to tell myself, I could do this, what you say to yourself, you also start to believe. So I always say, don't speak negatively over yourself, because if you're like, I can't do this, your brain is automatically going to rewire itself to believe, I can't do this. So I used to just tell myself, I can do this, girl, I can do this. And ultimately, um, it was COVID actually, it was 2020, and our salaries were in half, but we still had the same amount of work. And I was like, no, this is not going to work for me. And I just said, I prayed about it and I spoke to people whom I trust about it, like my partner, etc. And they were just like, bite the bullet, take the shot, let's go.
Yeah.
So I think it was an amalgamation of many things.
Mm.
Having the right community around you to back you, believing in yourself, and then obviously coupled with that industry experience. I never would have started at a company without having had that experience. I think I wouldn't say that's silly, but I also think like having mentors or getting some level of industry insight is so needed to start a company, because everyone thinks it's easy until they do it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I think
I
that's
hope that
spot.
answered your question.
No, that does help the question a lot because, like you said, there's a lot of people that we've seen a lot of people come in and out of the marketing agency space. We've been around the space long enough to see who stayed and who didn't, and by seeing who stayed and who didn't, it's basically the value they bring into the client, right? So, um,
Mm.
if you stayed long enough, it means you're bringing value to clients. Um, so,
Also, there's no plan B here. Like I am plan B. You know what I'm saying? I think with a lot of us that didn't grow up with a silver spoon in our mouth, like you got to do or die, you got to make it
yeah,
work. And we're building for legacy, we're building for future, we're not building for now, for self gratification, for instant gratification. Because I also work with people across the spectrum, from like Gen Zs to millennials to, I wouldn't say baby boomers. However, some of my clients are baby boomers, but you kind of gauge where their mindset is at. And like I said, EQ is so important, but also having, even if you don't have the privilege of going into an agency, get a mentor, have people
mm,
around you that have gone further than you, and just sit and learn and learn and learn. And that's one thing I love to do, is meet people. What can I learn from you? How can I add value to you and you add value to me?
yeah,
Um, you know, I don't believe that encounters happen for no reason. I mean, some of them do, and some of them are superficial and we leave them aside. But the ones that are, you know,
like I'll bring them.
sent by, yeah, I was going to say like divine intervention, you use that to your fullest capacity. And I think that's what I harness really well. I'm like, God would not have put this on my plate for no reason. Similarly with, I just want to give you a quick background as to why I actually studied this degree, which is brand strategy. My cousin actually owns a global events company. And during my school holidays, from the time I was 14, I would work for him just to get some extra cash. Little did I know he was teaching me how to run a company.
Mm,
And being at his side, learning how to cost clients, sitting in meetings with him from a very young age, actually, again, God was just sharpening and sharpening and teaching me over time. But had I not paid attention to that, had I just, you know, done it without intention, it wouldn't have impacted me as much as it did now. So I think intention is everything when you do something. Do it with your heart, do it with your chest, as opposed to just doing it to pass time or for the sake of doing it.
yeah, I think
I
God's
hope that makes sense.
yeah, I think God's so intentional as well because like He'll prepare you
So
for
intentional.
what is to come, right? So like you live
Absolutely.
your cousin, you didn't know
Absolutely.
what was gonna happen. Because I
Especially if it's your ministry mission, right?
yeah,
He wouldn't give it to you if he's not going to prepare you for it, or if he's not going to send the destiny helpers. Because there's a saying that I love. It says, where there's a vision, there'll always be provision.
100%.
And you just got to trust that.
100%. And I think even in like the influencer space, like if God, like if you being used in the influencer space, right? Like you've got a following, whatever. I think in a small sense, like it's also a link to your calling or your vision because by by influencing people, you're kind of discipling them, right? Like obviously people that follow you, like not all of them are you discipling personally, but there's a
Yeah.
level of discipleship that is linked to it. And I think those people that are good at influencing would be good at discipling people. And
Absolutely. I love that. Actually,
yeah, and
that's a word.
yeah, but it makes sense. That's how God's using you. Um, but
Mhm.
coming back to you doing marketing and like I said, if you've been in the game long enough and you sustain yourself and clients stay with you, and I think uh,
Mm,
that in itself is far greater than 90% of what companies are doing, right? Um,
sure.
you took Durban by storm, even though you were like, but you took Durban by storm. You worked with clients like the BMW Umhlanga, your Legacy Yard, the Pearls Mall, etc., and some other big companies that you know. Um, how did you grow so much or bringing clients at this stature in a such in quotes for the audio listeners in quotes saturated market? How did you uh, get to that level?
That's such a difficult question. Because I think, there's a book called Atomic Habits, and it says that you've got to do something today that's going to benefit tomorrow, but it's not going to just happen overnight.
Yes.
It's an accumulation of 1% better every single day. And I think for me, I didn't wake up intending to create this multinational global agency. I still tell my clients we're bespoke and I want to keep it that way. My goal is not accumulation or expansion, it's impacting.
Yeah.
So every time I do something, I want to be able to leave value and add value to a place that I'm at. And I think people will see that. I say that marketing is you saying you're good and PR is people saying you're good.
Mm,
And I always say, if you were a brand, would people want to hang out with you? You
wow.
know, would the people want to actually befriend you? And I always look at my clients in the sense that they're still people. As much as they're a BMW or they're a Pearls Mall or Regent Business School and they're these big entities with big budgets, I still treat them like it goes down to EQ and knowing the value sets, the systems, the structures that and the implementations that you're adding to their business. It's not just for a paycheck at the end of the day. It's not just to say we've worked with this brand, but it's to leave an existing mark, an
Mm,
indelible mark,
yeah.
And I think over time, that's exactly what we did. And I love to say this because this is honestly just God ordained as well. We don't necessarily reach out to clients or pitch because 90% of our work comes via word of mouth. And I think that goes back to relationship building, having a good EQ,
Yes.
establishing relationship with people. Yeah, and it happens, it doesn't happen overnight. It's almost like dating. You've got honestly, you've got to truly it takes time to build trust. It takes
Yes.
time to build a strong foundation. And then for me, my foundation is based on God. Like, I know that He's given me this as a form of ministry, and I have to be a good steward of it. And if I'm not stewarding the gift well, then I've got to be accountable for that. Moreover, I've got to be accountable for my team. Because at the end of the day, it's not about me, it's about the entity, it's about the client. And there's this quote that says, you focus on people, purpose, and then profit. And I think when you run your business like that, the only thing that can come out of it is success.
Yeah. 100%.
Because when money is driving you and status and whatever it is that's driving you, it's going to be short-lived and unsustainable. But when you're doing it the latter, you're going to make an impact and it's going to be easier to sort of, yeah, sustain.
Yeah.
Words are evading me this morning. I'm so tired, but it's all right. Yeah.
No, I fully get that. I fully get that. As you know, I've ran a small marketing company when I was in Durban. I grew to a certain stature, dropped it all, moved to Cape Town, etc., etc. But it was difficult.
Yeah.
Right? It's difficult getting clients, difficult keeping clients. It's difficult. Like I think the main thing, like a lot of people that want to start an agency, they really struggle with then how do I bring in clients? Like it's really difficult, like
Yeah.
bringing in clients is probably the hardest thing I think people don't realize. I mean, they could have the best product,
Mm,
but don't know how to sell it to somebody.
mm.
So
So there's another saying that goes, it's easy to attract a client, but it's harder
mm,
to sustain a client. And the sustenance goes back to what I was just saying, the relationship thing. One of the things that people don't teach you is that human capital and just managing people is the hardest thing that you're ever going to do in business.
Yeah.
Everything else, I mean, your skills and talents are innate, right? But managing people has to be learned over time. And I would really advise read as much as you can, watch all the podcasts, but there's something called information dopamine, which this generation is consumed by. They want to digest and they want to like consume and scroll on social media, but how much of that is being implemented? So one thing I try to do now is I don't want to read five different books at one go. I want to read a book that I can extract 10 key things from that I can actually implement, five of which.
Yeah.
So it's actually so intricate to run a company, and it's actually so complex, and there's so many layers and systems and structures that people think it's easy until again it's being done. And I think one really great factor of deciphering whether you're made for this or you need to tuck into other things is exactly that. Is your client turnover very quick, or are you sustaining the brand? Because ultimately that's the goal. When I mentor women in business, which is something that's super close to my heart,
Yeah.
I tell them to try and focus on 6 month to year retainers, because we don't want to be signing smaller clients, like figuring out where's my next paycheck coming from. When you sign a retainer for a year or longer, then you're in it for the long game. You're dating for the long run, you're
Yeah, yeah,
making
yeah, yeah.
you're going to make an impact, and you can actually feed into that client for a longer period of time, as opposed to trying to have 10 different clients at one go for 3 months, and then you're kind of like a headless chicken. And to be honest, that's what I did in the beginning. I just wanted to accumulate capital so that I can actually run the business. And then I realized it's actually about longevity.
Yeah.
And I think that's also a hack in terms of running your business well.
Yeah.
Focus on longevity.
Yeah. So I'm in the trading space, right?
I know you are. Teach
And
me
so
Obi-Wan, because
yeah, so being in the trading space, right? It's a thing of like the art of like a lot of people. It's a weird to, but I'll tie it in. So in trading, what the thing is, people what they try to do is they try and take a certain amount of money. Let's say example like 1K, and then they try and turn it like from one trade to like 10K or 100K, right? And in reality, it's not realistic. But for the best traders out there,
right.
they accumulate. So what they do is they start
Sure.
to 2K, then from 2K to 4K or 2K to 6K,
Mm,
they continue to grow that and compound it. But what people tend
sure.
to do, especially within business, I think what you're saying is that people are just trying to like go from here to there instead of slowly grow
0 to 100 real quick. Yeah.
and
And
in
it's that,
process. Yeah.
yeah, it's that instant gratification microwave mentality.
Mhm.
That I went to some, I can't remember who it was. I think it was John Sinai. You actually know of him as well. Didn't we go to a conference together? Possibly in
Oh,
Cape Town? No. So I think he spoke about just how success needs to actually trickle onto others. And success is not just for yourself. It's success is how am I creating success for others?
wow.
And I think when you rewire your brain into believing that, even in Christianity, it talks about accumulation and multiplication. God's economy is about multiplication, not just accumulation. And I think when you start having different mindsets and view sets of how you do business, the way in which you do business and the way in which you impact clients will automatically change. And it really just starts here in the mind. I saw this quote that also said some people are praying to go into rooms that they're not even mature enough to be in yet.
Mm.
So how are we to handle, God trusts us with a little before he gives us a lot. How are we to handle that level of stewardship if we're not even handling the little? How are we to go to 100K a month if we can't even handle 10K a month? So that's stuff that I had to learn over time. I mean, I've run my company for 5 years now, and you got to try, fall, fail, get back up and do it again. And then realize, okay, if I failed, what is God trying to teach me in this moment? How did I do things differently? and how can I better myself for the next time?
Yeah, it's so funny you said because I was with you during those difficult times where like there's certain clients that you have to drop because of your values and stuff.
Sure.
And I think God rewards that, right? Because end of the day,
Mm,
um, he's a good father, right? So he's not gonna like
yeah.
give you things that are gonna drive you further away from him or be bad for you, you know? And I think
Mm.
in itself like is powerful. So we have this segment on the podcast that we introduced recently. It's called Quick Fire Questions. So basically, I'm going to ask you quick fire questions, and we want like quick responses, right? So it's not like a long, in-depth answer. It's just
Okay. Just one word. Okay.
it could be one word or it could be like a sentence, one
A
sentence.
few. Okay.
Okay.
Let's go.
What's the first thing you do when you wake up?
Pray.
Pray. Nice. This is the interesting one. Coffee or matcha?
Matcha. Oh my God. I
Yeah,
don't drink coffee. I drink decaf.
but in matcha like caffeine, or you get
Yes,
decaf?
but it's a slow release. I don't want to go into the technicalities of it now. It's a slow release.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
great.
Uh, Biggest marketing campaign fail you've ever seen?
Globally or in
Oh,
South
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Africa?
Globally. It can be globally or let's say.
Oh my word.
Tough
So
one.
many, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, the most recent was the road situation in Johannesburg, where
Mm.
everybody got fake products and it was just an absolute,
Uh,
yeah.
crazy, crazy.
So somebody brought road from America and then they sold it to a bunch of girls. They stood in lines for ages, paid thousands of rands, only to realize it was fake.
That was fake. Oh my days. Um, One brand you'd love to work with.
Oh my goodness. I don't like there's so many.
Name one, your dream
I
collab,
mean,
marketing collab.
I mean, hmm.
Quick fire, B.
Can
Quick
it be a can it be a person?
fire.
Okay, but this is going to pertain to ministry.
That's fine.
Girls Gone Bible.
Oh, that's sick. They dope.
Girls Gone Bible.
They dope.
I feel like we're gonna, yeah.
Yeah. A marketing trend that needs to die. I'm thinking hashtags.
Oh my gosh, I feel like my brain is like evading me right now. Yeah, hashtags is not like who even uses hashtags anymore?
Yeah,
Who even searches hashtags anymore?
I've seen the CEO of Instagram say like hashtags doesn't make a difference. Like it's
Mm.
okay. Instagram or TikTok if you could pick one.
I'm still an Insta girly.
Yeah,
I haven't gotten into the whole TikTok situation yet.
yeah. How do you unwind after a crazy week?
Oh my gosh, I literally dive into the arms of my husband and I'm just a baby. I need to go from masculine energy to feminine in the evenings, and he allows me to do it so well.
Vibes, vibes. Uh, is influencer still a respected title or is it overhyped now?
Look, I don't like the terminology,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I think content creator works a little bit better. I
Hmm.
think influencer, people are not withholding the title well enough to be called influencer, I
Yeah.
think.
Hmm.
A bit salty there, but
Uh, Next one would be it could be yes or no if and you can give a reason if you want to. But have you ever turned on a client because their brand clash with your values?
You know this, absolutely.
100%, 100%. Um, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Oh my word, that this is too hard to
Be like a
answer.
sentence, like like a quote.
It's less about you and more about the mission.
Mm, pause. Okay, last one. What is the most toxic thing about the influencer industry?
Inauthenticity
Mm,
and like just I feel like people just want to portray an image that they're not. and they strive so hard to be someone that they're not. And God has created them so perfectly and so beautifully. And if they just harness who they are, there'll be less mental health struggles in the world
Yeah, that's so
and
true.
fighting and competitiveness and like all the things that social media can bring with it that's toxic. But yeah, this is cool.
Nice. Thanks for being on, and that's the quick fire questions with Bianca Naidoo. You spoke at the end about
Mhm.
you being competitive and stuff, and you're quite the opposite, right? So when it comes to a
Space.
beautiful couple that we know, David and Ishara, who we've known from our kitchen essay, right? And then now people
My
know them
people.
as Dote Durban.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you've you've put me onto them and we've grown relationships with them. How have you seen or like you've seen the growth from ground zero, literally in running their restaurant in the back of their house, to now running one of the like now what top 10 pizza places in the world from the previous.
In the world, like let's just put it
Exactly.
out there.
So tell us a little bit about their story and what you've seen and how has that impacted Durban in itself and your relationship with them.
Yeah. I mean, I could cry when I talk about these two. You know that. Like they
Yeah.
hold such a big place in my heart, such a soft spot in my heart. And it's not about, their accolades or what they've done. It's not about how amazing their food is because it's freaking amazing. It's honestly about who they are as people. And that goes a long way.
Yes.
And I think that's why we get along so well because intrinsically, our value sets are exactly the same.
Mm,
How we think is exactly the same. And I love that. And I think that is a word for whomever's watching this right now, whoever wants to start a company, get around like-minded people. You were never meant to run this race alone. Like God hardwired us for connection.
mm,
And they can be in a completely different industry with you and still impact you and still inspire you. And I think our growth trajectory happened at the same time because I started my company in lockdown. They
yeah.
started their home inspired restaurant, which they took straight from Italy. They went honeymoon in Italy. Not many know the story. I think if you watch their lives, you would. They went to Italy for their honeymoon, saw the home inspired Nana's restaurants, and Ishara, who's this genius freak of nature, love her so much. She's like, we're gonna start this. And
Yeah.
David, who's the helpful, supportive husband, was like, we're gonna do this, babe. And that's what they did. They literally just had a God vision, and I truly believe it was a God dream placed on their hearts whilst they were on honeymoon, brought the concept to South Africa. I hear about it through the grapevine, hear that there's a fine dining restaurant in Chatsworth, because I'm from Chatsworth, which is a small Indian community in Durban, for those who don't know. And I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah.
So, being living in Cape Town as well and being around my sisters, etc., I was always privy to um, eating at the best restaurants
Yeah.
around the world, never did I once think that it would be in my backyard. So I'm like, I need to go to this place. I go there and I taste their food. I remember it was the first day Brent and I went to their blind food tasting
Oh, yeah.
situation that they used to have. And I was just like, I need them as clients.
Yeah.
Like, and I will not, it's very hard for me to reach out to people and be like, hey, can I pitch you? It's just not within my nature. I was just like, I need them. I want them. But what started off as a business relationship turned into like literally one of the best friends we have
Yeah.
today.
Wow.
Um, and just seeing their value systems, just seeing their growth trajectory over years, it's second to none. And you know what I spoke about in the beginning when I said people, purpose, profit. I think that is what set them apart from everybody else, is that at the root and the heart of who they are is their God-given purpose.
Yes.
And then it trickles on to their staff and the people that encounter them. Every person that leaves Dode leaves impacted. I've seen people cry in the restaurant. I've seen people, celebrate huge milestones there because you feel the warmth, you feel the love, you feel the Christ energy when you're around them. And lastly, they focus on profit. And exactly that, when
100%.
you're not chasing money, money chases you,
Yeah.
And then they went on to opening up two restaurants now, a third coming soon. Not going to say where, when, and how. And going on to, make a name for themselves across the nations
Yeah.
globally.
Insane.
And again, it's so hilarious because our growth trajectory, the way we are as people, it's exactly the same.
Mm.
Um, and she always tells me, she's like, Bianca, if you can dream it, you can achieve it. Like,
Mm.
there's nothing that you can't achieve with God because again, it's less about us and more about Him
No.
and what we can do, what He can do in and through us, as opposed to what we can do in this world.
Yeah.
And even when I started working with global companies, she's like, it's almost as if they already expected it. And that's such a beautiful thing to have in friends where they're like, oh, you achieved that. I knew you were going to do it.
Yes.
Like that level of belief system actually does something for your own soul and your
Yeah.
own heart and your own mind. And I just love them so much, dude.
Yeah. They
Brent is also like, he's so inspired by them. And yeah, we're just so grateful to have them in our lives.
No, like from my experience with them of like going into a home restaurant, like, hey Jerry, like come check out this place, check out this thing, let's check them out, do some photos for them, do some content, to then
Yeah.
them opening their own restaurant and like they literally had a small space and like at Dode, where they are now in
Mm,
Florida Road. And like
And they expanded and
uh,
expanded
and
and
they keep
expanded.
expanding. They get literally
Yeah.
like the next building next door, and it feels like they
And,
get all road at this point.
yeah. And do you know what's so beautiful is that they've had so many people try and say, let us franchise. Okay, well, what is that?
Uh,
Um,
Mac product.
Celebrations. It's yeah. So they had so many people come to them and say, let us expand, let us do this, let us do that. But again, if it doesn't align with their value
Yeah,
system, immediately no.
for
They
sure.
will never chase the money, they'll never chase the profit, they'll always chase impact
Yes.
and leaving an impression. And I think that's what created that level of sustainable success.
Yeah, I think like even my experience with them within just being at the Dode or being around them, it's they very much people focused. Like even with their staff, like I was there and they're like they literally
Absolutely.
have so good relationships with their staff, and then they look to like
Absolutely.
pull them and upskill them and like they want to work on
Yeah,
something of a vision, we're gonna build that with you. And I'm like, that's
exactly that.
how do you manage your business plus managing that is insane, but they do it so well. And that's what
Yeah.
they've
And
got.
it goes back to human capital.
Yes.
They know if we sort of build and grow and establish the people that help make the business run, that's a recipe for success in and of itself.
Mhm.
I've seen people that were like not even able to make coffee and become baristas and then become general managers and just become shit. It's just so beautiful to watch, honestly.
Yeah. Um, so we've spoken about your partner, your husband, and basically for context for people that don't know, Brent, her husband is Brent and Nika.
I'm blushing.
Even
I'm
even after all
Bianca Naidoo
this,
now. Bianca
Bianca and
Naidoo.
Nika. Um, So you guys are married. You guys, he's in the venture capital space. One of the big venture capitals in Cape Town
Mm.
across the world. Um, how has having a partner that's so driven influenced your journey in the entrepreneur space, but again also in life? How has that impacted you?
Yeah. I mean, you know him personally as well, right?
Yeah.
He's salt of the earth kind of person. Um, he's impacted me in every way. I don't think I say this enough to him. One of the reasons I actually started the company when I was actually in campus was because of him.
Mm.
It was a God dream in my heart that was confirmed in his heart. He named my company for me.
Wow.
So much of who I am, I couldn't have done without him. And in the same breath, he also pushed me to be as independent as I could be. Because at the end of the day, he's a feminist. He really is. He loves supporting women. So a lot of girls tell, like I've had people tell me this, oh, you have it easy because you have a partner. And actually, that's completely
Yeah.
uh, the opposite. On the contrary, it's really difficult because with having a partner, there's pros and cons to it. You have someone to support you, but what happens in the days where we're real people, we have real issues, we fight, our schedules clash. Managing a home is so difficult with a partner in it. Being a wife is another level. I say being a wife is a mantle in and of itself. So it's actually even more difficult, but again, God wouldn't have given it to us if we weren't able to handle it. So having him there has been a bonus, has been more of a pro than it is a con. But it did come with its challenges. You know our journey as well, and we love sharing our testimony that our relationship also wasn't always hunky-dory. We faced lots of things, mental health challenges, depression, breakups, addictions, but what we actually did was we navigated through that together and we grew this way as opposed to diverging. We
Wow.
converged.
Yes.
And I always say that there's a scripture in Ecclesiastes that says a three-chord string is not easily broken. And
Mm.
when I think about that string, I look at God at the top and your partner on either side. And
Mm.
as you get closer and closer and closer to him, you get closer and closer and closer to each other.
Uh, yeah.
So having his foundation set in God actually shifted everything. Having him have a belief system that was aligned to mine was everything. And I think having a partner that has the same value system
Yeah.
as you is a make or break. You
Yes.
know, the Bible says you can't be unequally yoked for a reason. And when we were unequally yoked, nothing worked out. But when we both, you know, came onto the same page, everything, worked out the way God intended it to. But yeah, he's been a great help. He's an extremely supportive partner. His thought process, I know he's a genius. He's like a freak of nature. He's like so smart. So he brings innovation to my company. The way he speaks to my team and staff is just so like it's his own.
Yes.
And then also coupled with the fact that he's open to a global audience, a global market. I've met people that I never would have met, like just last week we were invited to a round table in Cape Town where I am potentially going to be doing business with the Tanzanian government because he just opened up a conversation. If he was talking to governments across Africa about blockchain regulation, and then they were like, "Hey, we need PR on this," and these conversations happen because of the networking that I'm exposed to through him.
Yes.
And there's a quote that says, "Your network is your net worth," right? And my net worth definitely expanded when he expanded my networks.
Yeah.
Or when I would say God used him to expand my networks.
Wow.
But yeah,
Yeah, no, you guys' story is crazy, man. Like I've seen the ups, I've seen the downs, but I've seen a lot of ups and then I'm inspired by your relationship and how God has
thank
grown you
you.
guys individually and together. And I think seeing seeing it now as what God is doing, and it's
Yeah.
it's such a blessing to see, and you guys are being impactful in other people's lives, and yeah, God
Um,
is really using you guys in,
Amen.
in His work, and it's
Also, just having people like you believe in us. I just remember sitting with you in our office space in Cape Town, and you were giving me advice, as to how to navigate relationships. And I was like, Jared, oh my word, like you're so anointed to be a husband. Like you and Anisha are gonna be amazing together. And
yeah.
but the thing is, like, your community is everything.
Mhm.
We have such good people around us, Jared. Like, we're just planning our wedding now, and we're going through our wedding list, and every single person on that wedding list has impacted us. The
Wow.
relationship has loved us and seen us in some way or the other.
Mhm.
And I think that is a blessing there's no amount of money that can ever be attached to it. It's an eternal blessing that we're so grateful for, like having people like you and others in our life.
Yeah, I think speaking of that, like, um, there's there's a thing of like if people aren't speaking life into you, it's very difficult, like to do life in itself. And I think you
Come
guys
on.
you guys have people around you that speak life into you guys, and I think that's been a blessing, right? I think there's people out
Mm,
there that don't, and I think some of them when
yeah.
they step into spaces that are foreign to them, and it's good spaces,
Mm,
getting into a different level. Some of them have imposter syndrome, and I think maybe you've had that if you didn't. But if you did have imposter syndrome in certain spaces, rooms you stepped into, how have you dealt with that?
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, imposter syndrome is a real thing.
yeah,
But because we're such spiritual beings, you also know that thought process doesn't come from God.
yeah,
It comes from the enemy.
Mm.
And when I started realizing that and taking these thoughts captive and genuinely speaking and saying, I renew my mind to the mind of Christ, it's a battle. Jared, we are in a spiritual battle daily. So I want to say this to whoever's listening as well. There's nothing wrong with you if you feel incapable or you have a little bit of doubt. It's human nature, but you got to know you can't sit in it because if you sit in it, you allow it to fester. If you allow it to fester, it becomes almost like procrastination starts to hit you. And we know, I read this thing that said procrastination is actually a spirit.
Mm.
And if we don't start seeing these things as actual blockages and enemies trying to stop us from achieving what we need to achieve, it could actually spiral into something that's very unhealthy. I saw this quote that I want to quickly read to you. It said, fear makes us forget who's with us.
Wow.
So entrepreneurs have to take courage because storms and situations are not your enemy, they're your training ground. Giants are not obstacles, they're invitations to conquer. And I feel like the giant of imposter syndrome, it's actually something that can be overcome
Yes.
with the right mentality and things that I do, little things that I do, because again, like with Atomic Habits, it's an accumulation of little things that impact the big things. Every single day, I meditate on the words. So some people in secular will say affirmations.
Mm.
Well, then do it. Like speak life over yourself. Before you go to somebody else to speak life over you, you've got to believe it and accept it for yourself first. Because if I tell you, Jared, you're amazing, you're capable, you're strong, you're talented, but if Jared's not saying that to himself, it's going to go through one ear and out the other. So you got to speak it, believe it first, and then allow people to come around you. The other thing is that what I realized, and I'll never forget this, when I moved back to Cape Town in 2018, um, and that's when I started working for the agency, and the brand myself just catapulted to a level that I couldn't even understand. I mean, you saw I worked with like Chuck Bass and a whole bunch of
Yeah.
people that I'm just like, am I dreaming? Pinch me, you
Yeah.
know? Um, Someone DM'd me, and I'll never forget this DM. She said, B, there's an analogy that says a shark can only grow as big as its environment. If you place a shark in a fish tank, it'll only grow so much. If you throw it into an ocean, it'll reach full size.
Yes.
So also, your environments dictate how you think.
Mhm.
Are you surrounding yourself with big enough minds? Are you going to that business conference? Are you engaging with people that are going to expand your mindset? If you're not, you can't help but blame yourself for
Mm.
having these thoughts and this imposter syndrome. You've got to step out of your comfort zone. You've got to push yourself. You've got to surround yourself with like-minded people. Sit with five successful people, you become the sixth. And it's easier said than done, but it's got to take a lot of intrinsic work for it to start manifesting on the outside. And here we go again.
I
I hope that makes sense though.
It does. No, it does. I think it's definitely a factor. I think um, perspective is a big one, right? And everything you've spoken about is getting
Mm.
you to that perspective and perspective of who are you, right? And if you are then having the perspective that the mindset that you are a child of God and God has placed you in these environments, then you're not going to feel lost. You're going to know that God is
Mm.
there and it's God ordained. So why fear? And don't give into the fear
Can
of
I also say one thing that I realized, and the word also says pride comes before the fall and humility comes before honor, is that humility is everything. And it's the little things that impact humility. It's things that I only learned, I think, about excuse me, a year or two ago. Even thinking I'm not capable enough or I can't do this is a little bit of pride
yes.
because again, it's not about you. It's about what God has placed in you and what he can do through you. All he's looking for is an obedient yes
Yeah.
to him, and he does the rest.
100%.
So being humble enough to say, okay, God, you place this on my heart. D doesn't matter what finances I have. It doesn't matter what I think I'm capable of. I know I serve a big God. I know I can achieve these things, not because of who I am, but because of who you are. So saying these things also does something to your brain. It really just rewires it. And I'm telling you all of these things because I've lived it. It's lived experience. I've been in the place of imposter syndrome. I've been in the place of being in fetal position, Jared, where I couldn't even get up from the bed. That's how depressed I was, that I'm not good enough. I'm not going to achieve anything in life until I had to like cut the BS and
Yeah,
pull myself away from myself, leave ego out the door and start realizing that I'm a child of God. And it's less about me and more about him.
sure. Sure. That's a crazy, crazy
That's
story.
deep.
Yeah, I think testimony is so powerful, right? I think that's the point of these
Yeah.
conversations that people don't realize. They see you where you are now, but they don't realize that you've literally started from ground.
Wow.
Right? You had imposter syndrome. You've been in fetal position, and there's people out there that genuinely go through this. Um, for your younger self, right? The younger B that went into marketing, that went into starting an agency. What advice would you have for her?
Shame, poor girl. I wish I could hug her. There's also something that I want to just share with everybody that is so vital, and it's called inner child healing.
Yeah.
As much as like we're running a business and we're hustling and we're doing all of these things, it takes a lot of work. And I love that our generation is so open to talking about these things, mental health struggles, how to overcome it, because our parents' generation didn't know how, and they're messed up. All of their messes trickled onto us, and now we've got to undo it so that our generation doesn't obviously bear
Yeah.
the brunt of it. So there's what I do, and I'd love to encourage others to do it, is when I journal, I always write to my future self from my younger self.
Mm.
So I sometimes pick up my journals and I'm like, hey, this was a message from younger me to me now, to me now, or vice versa. So one of the things that I picked up recently, it said, like, stop overthinking. One of the things that I used to do, I used to actually go into really severe panic attacks to the point where I thought I was having a heart attack because my mind used to go into overdrive, Jared. And, you know, over time, I started doing that inner child healing work. Over time, I learned about breath work. Over time, I learned what a life coach was. Well, I had a Christian life coach, I had a Christian psychologist. All of these things that we're now privy to, utilize it to the best of your ability. There's nothing wrong with you. If anything, you're doing the work now that's going to lay the foundation to your children and children's children reaping the benefits of it and living a fulfilled, fruitful, healthy, happy life. I noticed that a lot of the people that don't do the work, you can actually just see it. You can see it in the way they are. You can see it in the competitive spirit. You can see it in the work that they do or the friends that they have or don't have, who their community is. And it's sad. I've learned that being an empath over the years is that, you're not fighting people. Everybody's just on a level of healing, and people will only meet you on the level of healed that they're at. So my advice to my younger self was stop overthinking, start doing the work, start healing, start filling your cup, girl. It's a little thing to do, but it makes the biggest impact in the long run. It'll impact how you show up in your household. It'll impact how you show up in your business,
Mm.
how you show up for people. And just trust that God has laid a specific gift in your heart and in your body that cannot be replicated. So often we think that the market's saturated, there's so many agencies out there, but what God has placed in you will separate you because everybody has a thumbprint for a reason. This is so cool.
Right.
Everybody has a unique thumbprint for a reason. Why? Because we all have something unique to bring to the table. So I'm like, I'm like, is this God giving us the thumbs up and telling us, yes, girl, you're preaching today?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an accumulation of just all of those things, Jared. And I think some people don't have good people in their life to tell them these things. These
Mm.
are the hacks. It's not about hustling. It's not about getting that paycheck. It's not about signing the client. It's the little things that no one sees. that prepares you for the public things that people that end up seeing, the success that's finally, out in the open. It took a lot of work.
Yes, 100%. Sure. That's a lot, man. I think yeah, just want to give you your flowers, man, because just seeing your growth, as in like you then coming to faith and then finding Christ and then finding Him as you journeyed with Him. I think it was such a blessing to watch your journey and as you grow with Christ and as you go deeper with the Word and community and even you and Brent
Mm,
growing within relationship with God and then seeing that impacting not only your lives but then your businesses, but then also people that you are
mm,
mentoring and
mm,
yeah, it's such even a blessing to see you mentor women in business, but then you also mentor women of God, right? You've done that and you've
mm.
Bible studies, you had sessions with them and um, just such a blessing, I think, to those around you. And
Thank
you'll see it like,
you.
and you discipling these women individually, you'll see them impacting those
It's
around them
not.
and their family
Yeah.
and their friends and those around them,
Yeah.
and you see them come to Christ, and you'll see them live a
Yeah.
righteous life, and it's those small things, and God uses those things.
Mm,
And yeah, just giving you your flowers, man. Well done,
thank
and
you.
everyone's watching,
I
everyone's
appreciate you, Jared. I really do. And I speak so highly of you. Like, so on my group right now, it's called Proverbs 31 Beauties. There's about 70 women across the world that's on it. And when I'm speaking to them, I actually refer to you, believe it or not. And I tell them about this young boy that's on fire for God. And I mean, I know you from the time you were like 20 or something, right? And just your conviction for who you are in Christ. And you've also convicted me in great ways. I think it's important
yeah,
to have people that call out your blind spots. There's things that you've said to me that still linger in my mind in terms of my walk with God. No, no joke. Like, and you never know something that you say that's led by the Spirit that can actually not just impact the person you're speaking to, but they can take it to other people. And again, I've spoken about you to so many of these women, and I said the level of conviction that you have for Christ, who you are in Him, your ministry, your relationship and how that's intertwined so beautifully in God. And you're so young.
mm,
That's what I love about it. You're so young, but it's so on fire for God, and it gives me hope for the next generation. And you're a business person with good ethics and values, etc., etc. And that's also hard to come by in this dog eat dog world. Um, so it's a breath of fresh air to also just be around you as well, and Anisha.
I
So
appreciate.
grateful.
I do appreciate that. Yeah, man,
Can I share one little nugget with you before I head off? Because I know we're wrapping up.
for
So
sure.
Brent and I have actually started, and you're going to hear it first live on Capital GPT. Brent and I have started a Kingdom Business Connect. So
Nice.
I'm very excited about it. I am very excited to see what God is going to do in it. It started through our church. They've asked us to lead the group,
Good.
but we actually feel like we need to take it out to different cities, the nations when we travel, etc., and start gathering kingdom entrepreneurs
Yes,
because of that whole concept, iron sharpens iron. And if we don't sharpen each other, who's going to sharpen us?
for sure.
You're a destiny helper to someone. I'm a destiny helper to someone. The real measure of success is how many people we can actually help and pass on the baton and light their fire and push them into who they're called to be. So that's the whole premise of it. We've started it. It's happening in Cape Town. It's moving to Durban, then to Joburg, and then who knows where else God is going to take it to. But I
That's
would love to have
that,
you a part of it.
that's so cool. I think there's such a need for it, man. I think
Yeah.
there's so many people that are within business space, but they don't know how to network with people within the kingdom space, and that's
Yeah.
they want to work with people, they want to work with businesses that are like-minded, with faith. And I think that's powerful. I think it's necessary. So well done on you guys for that.
Yeah.
I'm looking to see on that. We'll promote it, we'll push it out there, and God is really going to use you guys. Anything else you want
Thank
to
you.
tell people? What are you working on besides this? What can people look out
What
for?
am I working on?
Or what can people look out for besides these? I mean, you did give us a big one.
Well, do you know what's so funny is that people are like I still get lots of questions as to what do you do because I don't post our work up on social media. It's the
Yeah.
funniest thing.
Yeah.
But I am thinking of starting a LinkedIn for us in because we've done such brilliant work,
Oh, yes.
over the past couple of years, and God has really blessed us and we've expanded. So just to kind of like, inspire the next person, would be great. We are launching two Vodacom stores in Cape Town next month. We are doing some work with a client in London soon. Yeah, there's just so much happening.
Yeah.
Um, Possibly going to be traveling to New York again for some work and some play. So yeah. Sorry, on that note, last question, last point. Do not put yourself in a geographical border.
Mm.
We live in a global community. Put yourself out there. Use LinkedIn to your benefit. I think with me, it's been a little bit easier because we have lots of friends and family and people and Britain's clients from all over the world. So I've networked well. Read a book called How to Influence People.
Mm.
That will really help you with networking. And then also, if you're looking to expand your clientele, use LinkedIn to your fullest capabilities. Use platforms like Fiverr, where you kind of pitch for international work. Don't put yourself in a geographical border because once you get paid in dollars and pounds and euros, you're going to be like, there's more to life than this. And also just meeting people from all over the world, expand your mind, expand what God can do in and through you.
Thank you.
That is all.
Thank you so
Promise.
much. Thank you so much for being on the podcast, guys. Make sure you follow Bianca on all platforms. There'll be a link in the description.
Thank you so
Follow, send on all
much.
platforms. Yeah, thank you so much for being on the podcast again. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
So, guys, make sure you like,
Cool.
subscribe, do the most. Cheers.
Do the most.